I gotta thank God.
I stand on one thing for sure.
When I think about the victory, and as a black man, all that's pitted against me, can I get an amen?
We see successful people every day, on TV, on social media, and in person. We see the finished product, but rarely do we get to see the process that led to their success.
At Syracuse, what was it like playing under a coach like, Coach Jim Boeheim?
The Famer is what we call him.
Okay.
The Famer, Hall of Fame, great coach. He really, I tell guys all the time, especially when, I've helped Syracuse and get a couple guys. Jeremy Grant was one of the guys I helped with. For sure, I was real hands-on with Jeremy. I said a few things to CJ, of course, but I tell guys all the time that, Boeheim, if he likes you, if he wants you for the player that you are. He's
Right.
not going to try to change you. He's not going to get you and want you to fit his system.
Right.
How he sees you, if he's recruiting you, how you are as a player, that's how he wants you to be. He'll help you get better,
Right.
but he won't try to change your game, and he won't really try to hurt you. He's, one of the coolest coaches I've ever had, and he, once you get to Syracuse, he gonna let you rock. If you that guy, hey man, go out there, do your thing, and play hard and let's win.
Right. So, what was it like playing in that system? Because I know, like we were talking about earlier, he played beside, Johnny Flynn, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he was tough when he was at the college level, man. So, like, what was it like just playing within that system and playing in the Big East?
It was cool, man. Everybody, at TC, we played man.
Right.
Everybody at Mount Royal, we played man.
Right.
So it's like when you get to Syracuse, everybody tries to automatically say, oh, you can't play defense just because we play 2-3 zone.
Oh, yeah,
it's like,
right.
nah, like we play 2-3 zone, but we play a 2-3 zone like no other.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously, he won a national championship with it. So
Right.
it's not all bad.
Right.
And what people don't understand is we play in our non-conference games. We play man. Like we played a lot of man. Even sometimes in the Big East, we'll play man. Like we don't just always play zone, but it's just like that's what everybody's focused on. Our main defense was for sure 2-3. So the only knock on being there is like, oh, you can't play defense. But other than that, man, just the offense is flowing. He loves athletic guys. He always has an athletic wing, and it's just free flowing, man. It's like you really out there just hooping.
Right, absolutely, man. And that year, we was something else that we were talking about, man. That year, I remember, seeing a mock draft that year, like I think early on in the season, and you were definitely looking like you were projected, top 5, top 10 at that time. Did you realize that at any point, like early in the season? Did you know that's what it was like?
You start hearing stuff. Of course, back in that time, the internet really wasn't big, so you don't really know where to look at or anything like that. All we had, I was still on MySpace my freshman year. So, and a lot of kids don't even know what MySpace is. So, the internet really wasn't there. If it wasn't on Sports Center or anything like that, you really kind of didn't really know about it. But yeah, I heard chatter, and definitely the agents were coming around. The agents was buzzing around, and you can just kind of tell that things were different. But I tell you all this all the time. My mindset was to win. I was focused at Syracuse first day when I stepped on. Like, hey, look, I got 7 other freshmen with me.
Right.
Or junior college transfers. We brought in 7 people, so I got 6 other guys with me, and we coming in trying to learn, we trying to win. Is what we focused on, and even still, once the season was over, I made my decision. I think I was late. I made my decision. I made to go to the league. I was like one of the last guys to really commit fully.
Right.
So yeah, I was always just focused on Syracuse.
Focused on Cuse at the time. And it's really interesting too, man, because from the outside looking in, like we watching you, you know, from the couch, you know, at home, man, and you see what some of the things that the mainstream media says and how they try to play into certain things and create certain narratives and all of that. And then obviously, like you were just saying, I'm sure the ages were kind of like, you know, coming around at that time, and you had different people, you know, pulling you in this direction and that direction because you're playing at such a high level.
Facts.
But was it challenging for you to kind of just go on? It doesn't sound like it was challenging for you to go in there and just focus on like, yo, I'm playing at Cuse, man. I'm playing here with my guys and just focusing on competition. Like, was it kind of easier for you to do that, or was it a challenge?
I mean, you had your challenges. You had your, you know, not really knowing guys well. So it's like, you know, you go to school, you go to high school, and you kind of build your relationship up with guys, and you spend a lot of time with them. You kind of know who they are. Like, you know, getting to Syracuse, I didn't get a chance to go to summer school the year before. I was busy with USA team. So I stepped on campus the first day of school is when I first got to campus. Like that first weekend before, that's when I got to school and kind of really got to hang out with the guys. So the only only strong relationship I had was with Johnny Flynn.
Okay.
I was pretty cool with Scoop Jardine, pretty cool with Rick Jackson, but you know, my guy was Johnny. We spent 2 months together over in Serbia playing with the USA team. So, you know, we really developed a real tight relationship. But, you know, you really don't know guys that well. So as the season went along, you know, you kind of got to worry about, you know, sometimes guys' egos or, you know, how they feel about certain situations. If things aren't going their way, how they going to feel about you. Right. You know, it was a lot. Then you also had, you know, families. Everybody had a big family, so everybody had families at the game, and everybody, oh, you should shoot this, and you know, there's a whole bunch of little stuff that goes into it. Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, I know we just wanted to get out there and hoop. Right. You know, as kids coming, that's all you want to do is you just want to play basketball. You don't really try to pay attention to the outside noise. So with me, and everybody who knows me, they know I'm the happy-go-lucky guy. Right. I'm just trying to go out there, have a good time, and I'm just trying to hoop and win at the end of the day.
Absolutely, man. Yo, Tay, did you know, like, obviously you were one and done, you know. You entered the draft, like you said, towards the end of that your freshman year. Did you know that was pretty much most likely going to happen for you? Like, I'm gonna go here 1 year and then.
I knew it was a possibility. I didn't think that I was going to be ready just because of, just to make that jump, just because of, one, how skinny I was. Like, still my freshman year, like, I mean, you know, we was in the weight room. I didn't, weights were mandatory at TC, right. Except for Donté Greene. Like, I wasn't lifting no weights.
As long as you performed on the court.
Yeah, like, I'm going to go out there, maybe do a little bench press, you know, but then, hey, I'm about to go get some shots up, man. I'm not doing this. Like, I didn't lift weights, so, you know, that was one of the things I was worried about. Was I going to be physically ready to make that jump? I knew I knew I was very talented. I knew I was skilled, but you know, physically, was I going to be able to be able to play with, you know, grown men, you know, and getting to Syracuse and you know, thankfully the Big East was one of the toughest at that time. It was probably the toughest league in the nation. Okay. So playing in that. And getting that experience being in the Big East and being able to put on some weight when I got to school, I think I put on probably about 15 pounds of muscle. So
you couldn't duck the weight room at that point? Once you
got to Syracuse, wasn't no ducking. I mean, you know, during the season maybe, but even still during the season, you know, before the games, I'm getting a workout in with our strength and conditioning coach, Ryan Kabilas. Shout out to Ryan. You know, getting work in with him and just really seeing my body change throughout the season. It was like, all right, you know what? Maybe I can do this. Right. Maybe I can make that jump.
Yo, what was before we even get to draft night, because I definitely want to get into that. What was like the major difference between playing at the high school level and then once you got to college, like playing at that level?
The speed. You know, you in high school you had a couple guys who could really go, right. You know, who could really play at a high level. You know, you saw, you know, like I said, in the BCL, we had maybe more. So that definitely got me prepared. But once you get to college, right. You got for sure 5 or 6 guys that, maybe even 7, depending on who you playing, what teams you playing, that can really go. You know, get out there, they're just as athletic as you, just as skilled. Right. or so it's once you get to college, it's the real deal, man.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. It was I wouldn't say it was tough because I was still out there hooping, just having fun, especially in our non-conference games. I was breezing, cruising through that.
Right.
But yeah, it was just that not being I guess you want to say the only athlete out there. Like you might have 4 or 5 athletes out there at one point in time. So.
Right.
That's the big difference from high school to college.
Yo, to go back for a second, something I meant to ask you earlier, because you were just even mentioning just now, like when you at Syracuse playing something, like you playing out of conference games, you have in conference games. When you were at TC, I remember actually seeing, we played. There were times when we played, public school teams, like out of conference games. So, and I know because of the reputation of the BCL, the Baltimore Catholic League at that time.
Yeah.
And especially like with Mount St. Joe and Towson Catholic and all that, schools like Woodlawn, for example, and like different public schools really got up for those games, man. I know that was a different level of motivation.
Right.
So did you guys feel that when you were playing some of those teams?
It just depends on who we was playing. For sure for me, especially my senior year, playing at Woodlawn. We played in my junior year, and it was like
played at TC.
At TC, right. Yeah. So it was like, all right, we're gonna beat them.
Right.
But playing at Woodlawn for me, going back home, like that was like, that's Woodlawn. That's where I grew up.
Right.
When I moved to Baltimore,
Right.
was living in Woodlawn, and to get a chance to see a bunch of guys I went to middle school with that really hadn't seen me play. Like I said before, back then it wasn't no streaming high school games. That either you was going to the game or not. And Towson Catholic is 30 minutes away
Right.
from Woodlawn.
Right.
So. Like my grandparents really didn't make it to a lot of my high school games. So being able to play at Woodlawn my senior year, having, basically my whole family was there. My grandparents, my dad, aunts, uncles, cousins, like, friends. Like, when I say Woodlawn was packed, like I want to say it was packed for the JV game. I think the JV game was.
Yo, but you know what, bro? You guys brought that because even like when I was on JV, it was nerve-wracking, man, because the game, like if you playing, for example, you remember Mount St. Joe, like
games was
the
packed
benches on both sides. It was packed, just getting ready for your game.
Yeah.
It's like they coming in for like a little pregame.
Exactly.
Before y'all hit the floor.
So
crazy.
just having it packed like that, and then just everybody, like my teammates knew that, one, it was my senior year, but two, hey man, take home,
Right.
So we gonna go out here, we gonna definitely, make sure we get him the ball and show out. And what's crazy is I think the first play of the game, I tipped it back. I think I ended up getting a pass, but I threw a lob to Malcolm for the first play of the game. Malcolm rarely ever caught lobs. Threw a lob and he went and dunked it. Jim went bananas. I was like, oh, we lit. Now I already know this about to be a crazy game. And
that was like first play of the game?
That was our first play of the game. And I think after that, I might have had like 10 dunks alone that game. Like it was crazy. That game was.
I know that felt good.
Man, it felt so good. And we ended up, we beat them by like 30, but it was crazy. Just the highlights we had from that game for sure.
That was something that definitely crossed my mind. I wanted to, when you were talking about out of conference games in college, I wanted to touch on that. But before we even get to the draft night, can we talk about after the regular season at Syracuse? And let's talk about after the regular season. Let's talk about the actual tournament. You know what I mean? Like the conference tournament. Like what was that like?
So the conference tournament. So this was a crazy year for the Big East because like I said, the Big East was one of the top leagues in the nation for college basketball. So that year we were ranked 8th in the Big East. I want to say I think it was 16 teams at the time, 16 to 18 teams in the Big East.
Okay.
We were ranked 8th. It was us and Villanova.
Okay.
So the first round of the Big East tournament, we had to play Villanova. So, around this time is when they get in the brackets together for the NCAA tournament. Everybody knows kind of what you need to do to make it into the tournament.
Right.
So our whole thing was all we had to do was win one game in the Big East tournament, and we would make it to the NCAA. We would make it for sure. It would be 100% that we would make it. If we lost, it would be 50% chance. Yeah, so just beating over. Okay. We split this regular season with them already. We beat them at Villanova, and we lost to them at Syracuse. So we're in the Garden. getting ready to play, and you know everybody feels good. I felt good, and we just came out and just laid an egg, man. Like we just couldn't throw the ball, wouldn't be able to throw a penny in the ocean. It was just crazy. And what's crazy is that was probably my worst game I've ever played at the Garden. Like all the way from high school to McDonald's. Like I got the MVP. The Jordan Brand All-American game.
Right.
I was MVP, 20-something points.
Right.
And even in the league, I think in the league I didn't average anything under 18 or something like that at the Garden. Like always had a good game. But this one game, preseason NIT against Ohio State and Washington, I averaged like 27. Like it was just one game against Villanova. And I think it was just Villanova, man. I still don't like none of the dudes I hate Villanova guys. But yeah, we ended up losing the game, and it came down. We were the first 4 out, and that's the year that they took only 7 teams from the Big East instead of 8. They usually took 8.
Y'all would have been.
We would have been the last team to go. Yep, and they took 7.
Wow.
I think we were like 21-11.
Okay.
21 wins should get you into the tournament.
Right.
But in the Big East, it was so tough. It was no chance.
That particular year, they just took 17.
Yeah, so it was tough. But just the experience of being in the Big East and the electricity that was in the building that night, and we were like one of the first games. I think we were the first game, and it was still like crazy. Like it was just.
Was that like, did that pretty much end your season completely?
It ended our hopes to go into NCAA tournament. We ended up going to the NIT, and we lost to UMass.
Okay.
Ricky Harris, shout out to Ricky Harris, another Baltimore guy. And Gary Forbes, but
you said that was in the chip. Was that in the chip?
That was in I believe that was the chip of the NIT. It was either the chip or the Final Four of the NIT.
Okay. But, man, something you mentioned the Jordan Brand, because I remember that Jordan Brand, that game, and then you also mentioned McDonald's All-American. I don't want to like not touch on that at all. Because I remember for the McDonald's All-American game, they kind of gave you like the camera. And it was letting you like do all like the covers, which is like perfect for your personality.
Yeah, it was dope.
Like what was the McDonald's All-American experience like for you?
McDonald's was fun, man. You know, just being there. We were there for like a week, so just being there. Basically, ESPN. We had a few ESPN games in my high school career. I think my junior year we played once on ESPN. My senior year we had like 4 or 5 games on ESPN. So just having that exposure, being able to have the camera, I had like my own little segment where I walked around, talked to a bunch of the guys and the girls that were there, just being me really. I mean, I tell you all the time, I'm a happy-go-lucky guy. I like to have fun. I'm very, very blessed and skilled to be a basketball player, but at the end of the day, I'm still a regular guy. So just being able to show that side and interact with with everybody that was there, it was dope, man. I still have everything from my ring to my warm up to everything. Like that experience was special, man.
And then with the Jordan Brand game, you mentioned that too. You got the MVP.
MVP to Jordan Brand, yep. I feel like I didn't have the showing that I wanted to have at the McDonald's game, and my team ended up losing. So I wanted to go to the Jordan game and really show out. And it started from I won the slam dunk contest. Okay. That was actually the first year that they had the slam dunk contest. So I was the first ever slam dunk champion for Jordan Brand. Okay. And then ended up going on to win MVP of the game.
Right. And you mentioned, you just brought up the slam dunk contest. My pop said to me the other day, he was like, tell Tay, I remember when at TC, Midnight Madness, you threw the ball off the
wall.
Off the wall.
I used to be able to fly, man. I used to be my older age now. I just,
how you feeling now?
I can still get there and do some things, but definitely not like how I used to do back in the day. Yeah, I had a major injury. I did break my ankle, but other than that, I used to be able. Y'all go check out some highlights. You can put some highlights up right now. This is what throwing it in. Something crazy over the shoulder joints in the league. But just
coach to coach throwing it
off the backboard.
I lost count of how many times that happened.
That used to be my move right there. I used to just throw out the backboard. Everybody thought I was throwing a lob at somebody. Like, I'm throwing this to myself. But it was. Young legs, man, young legs.
I hope you guys enjoyed that part of the journey. That's right, we'll be back. Until next time, I'm Karl Nelson, creator of Intern Media.
I gotta thank God.
I stand on one thing for sure.
When I think about the victory, and as a black man, all that's pitted against me, can I get an amen?